This is why I love Friday the 13th right there. Derek Mears, you magnificent son of a bitch. God damn, he's awesome in this. Good morning, everybody. It is Drumdums Watches time. I'm here in the Drumdums studio right now. Today, we're gonna do Friday the 13th, the remake. I posted a poll on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. It was pretty close. Friday won on Twitter, and then Halloween won the remake on Killer Flicks. And you know what? I'm feeling like I want to do the Friday remake today. I just feel it, you know? And plus, I have the shirt on to prove it. But we're going to go to the movie shelf here. We're going to grab Friday the 13th. There it is. Yeah. It's going to be fun. God, this is so cool. I haven't done a Drumdums Watches since I lived in my last house in Georgia. And now I live in Florida. And here is my living room. And it's a very different setup than what I had in Georgia. It's smaller, but I don't mind that. It's still nice and comfy and cozy and all that. But there's the 4K TV. And here it is. We're gonna throw it in now. As a matter of fact, I've already cheated and I threw it in there. Let's set that right there. And we're gonna go ahead and hit play and get this thing started, guys. Okay, so we're turning on the TV now, getting it ready. Super excited about this one. Play disc, oh, there it is right there. Kick that over. Boom. There we go. It has started. Friday the 13th, the remake with Derek Mears playing the part of Jason in this one. I am super excited about this one. I know that I've ripped certain aspects of this movie to shreds, but then there's certain aspects of this movie that are just completely freaking awesome. Just awesome. So yeah, I like movies like that though, that, you know, there's a part of them that's great and there's a part of them that's horrible, and we're gonna dive into all that. All right, here we go. We got the movie started. I kind of like this setup. It's nice and cozy. There's the Paramount logo coming up. I like the nice red hue to the logo. It looks really cool. I guess let's start with, you know, when this movie first came out and, you know, the anticipation for it. Now this was like right smack dab in the middle of, you know, remake craze, I guess you could say. They had just come out with the Halloween remake 2 years earlier, and everybody, as soon as that remake came out, everybody was like, are we gonna get a Friday remake? We need a Friday remake. The previous New Line movies in the Friday franchise, you had Jason X, and then you had Jason Goes to Hell, and those movies were pretty much, you know, just bad. Everybody did not like them at all. I think there's some charm to them. Oh, and here we go. We're starting out with this really cool scene. I like that this movie tries to combine elements of parts 1 through 4. So let's go ahead and get that mother angle right out of the way in like the first couple minutes. And that's what this one does. Now, I don't know if they asked Betsy Palmer to come back and do this one, because she was still alive, I believe, when this one came out. But she's been asked many times in the past, and she's always said thanks, but no thanks. You know, she kind of took the John Carpenter approach. I would have loved to have had Betsy Palmer come back in some form. But this is a nice little intro. It's kind of cool, you know, to just delve for a second in there, because if we're getting a new Jason movie, we're not gonna explore for 2 hours Jason's mother. We're not, and spoiler alert for the first movie, we're not gonna go back and tell that story. We want Jason. That's what the fans want. That's the cream of the crop of this series, so yeah. And we're introduced to our first set of characters. Now, when I went and saw this for the first time, when everybody saw this for the first time, they thought this might be, you know, the characters for the whole movie. You know, that Jason would pick off these few people. But no, he actually takes care of these guys in the first 20 minutes of the movie. And in that 20 minutes of the movie, it sets up the character of Whitney and her boyfriend, who gets killed in this section, by the way. And then, you know, of course, Whitney goes missing, and then her brother comes looking for her, which is kind of a tie-in to part 4. Now, here's one thing I want to point out about this one. These two characters right here are kind of the start of my problems with the characters of this movie, and Trent being the worst of the worst. But These two, they're not completely annoying, but they do scratch the surface. And if you remember around this time the movie Superbad came out, it seemed like they were trying to capitalize on that flavor of characters. And to me, it just didn't work for a Friday movie, ultimately. They're not completely annoying, don't get me wrong, but they were like borderline. And you know, I think the thing is they're trying to sell the comedy, but I didn't think it was really that funny. But yeah, like I said, not really that annoying, but this is kind of the start of where we're going with the characters in this movie. So I want you guys to see this view that we have in the backyard, and it's kind of appropriate to what we're watching today. It's Camp Crystal Lake. Doesn't that look like Camp Crystal Lake? But that is my backyard. And I'm hoping you guys are getting a good view of the lake. I had to raise the camera up pretty high. Yeah, it's a beautiful morning here in Florida. It is January the something, and this is what it's like in Florida. It's about 65 degrees, 60 degrees right now. It's gorgeous. But let's go back inside and let's see where we are in the movie. This is a good scene right here. This is the sleeping bag kill, or kind of a twist on the sleeping bag kill. And this couple, they were a fun way to start the movie out. It kind of fits in with everything Friday's all about, you know, with the nudity and the girls, and they had tons of that in this. This probably has the most nudity out of all the Friday movies, except for maybe 5, but I'm not sure. And also, huge shout out to Deborah Voorhees from Part 5. She's actually a friend of mine now. We talk on Facebook all the time. I did a Killer Flicks tag, and she was so nice. She actually recorded herself asking one of the questions, and it was so cool. But she's one of the sweetest celebrities I've ever had the pleasure of talking to. And yeah, that's the one thing I love about horror celebrities. They're also down to earth, they're very sweet, they're kind.
Stop fucking around.
And Richie needs to stop fucking around. And it's about to get real intense, real quick. I got my Monster here, so I might have a little bit too much caffeine in me. But we're about to see Jason, Sackhead Jason, which is my favorite version of Jason, for the first time. Got our first kill there. Yes, this is awesome. This is why I love Friday the 13th. Right there. Derek Mears, you magnificent son of a bitch. God damn, he's awesome in this. Listen to that music. Everything about this. We're only like 15, 20 minutes in, people. This is insane. Oh, and we got the sleeping bag hanging from the tree. Oh God, I love this. This is great. This is great. Now, this is how you start a horror movie. I mean, there's different ways to pace a horror movie. This is definitely one of them, and one of the best. You grab your audience immediately, and then you slow them down, and then you grab them again at the end, which is kind of what Scream did. Scream immediately kicks you right in the balls at the beginning of the movie. And then it calms you down, makes you laugh, and then it kicks you in the balls again. Also, I have Killer Flicks up, and I'm going to be doing shout outs for that. But you can see the picture I got posted there. Drumdums Watches is back. It feels so good to be back, people. I've been dying to do this. Let me tell you why I haven't been able to do Drumdums Watches. Well, obviously for the move. And also my schedule is different now. I work like a regular schedule, Monday through Friday, whereas I used to, I would have Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday off. So Monday and Tuesday, I had the house to myself, really. And so that's when I would do all these Drumdums Watches. Now I have to get creative. I have like a pocket of time this morning. I actually have to go to work today, but I have a couple hours this morning to do this. My wife's already at work. My son's at work right now. So it's just me and Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees, and we're having a blast together. And you fine people, we're having a blast together. My favorite scene in the movie is coming up right here, and it just so happens to be in the first 20 minutes. First, because it involves Sackhead Jason. Again, Sackhead Jason's my favorite Jason. I just love the look of him. And Derek Mears really fills out the outfit perfectly. He's just such a big guy, really menacing. And I believe he does have like a rare disorder where he can't like grow hair or very little hair on his face or his body. which makes him perfect for Jason. And Derek Mears is a big Jason fan. Oh, there he is. Oh God, he looks so badass. Ooh, right in the head. Perfect. I just wish the movie would have kept this, oh God, this pace the whole time. Bam! Title cards right there. One of the best opening sequences for a horror movie or remake I think I've ever seen. At least effective. Okay, so we're gonna do some shout outs real quick. Got a lot of people commenting that they're happy that Drumdums Watches is back. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. I've been wanting to get back to this. It feels so good. I'm really pumped up right now. I'm having a great time with this. And I figured I'd do this while the douchebag Trent is on the screen because you guys know how I hate his guts. We're gonna start with Killer Flicks. We got George Hernandez. Morning, bro. Hope all is well. Film is underrated overall. Then they say hi to Mommy Line Torches. The value of the films have, I know I'm butchering what I'm reading here. Mears is my second favorite Jason behind Kane. I think Mears is better than Kane Hodder. Not to take anything away from Kane Hodder, but it's weird that they got the best Jason, in my mind, for the last movie. Because Mears is on another level good. He's so good. Jason Hamilton says, what's up, Lee? I love watching the remake. Met Derek Mears a few years back at a local haunted house, and he's a super chill guy. He seems really cool, actually. Dylan Clancy, co-admin, says, praise Leesus. I've noticed lately how many films Derek Mears, who plays Jason, is in. He is a really terrific actor. I just saw him in something recently. I can't remember. I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, I was like, oh wow, there's Derek Mears, because he's just one of those guys, you know exactly who he is when you see him. Nick Pusha says, yay, wonderful news to wake up to. I love the remake. Probably my favorite horror remake, actually. Cheers, man. Yeah, and it's actually really early in the morning. It's probably like 7:30 right now. Aaron Wilson says, I wish there was a sequel to this. It definitely deserved one. And some commenting by George Hernandez and Aaron. I agree. I would definitely welcome just a why not just go ahead and do a sequel to this one? They got the right tone. They got the right Jason. Let's go. Let's move forward. Why not? I agree. I completely agree. Dan Wolf, my buddy Dan Wolf, producer from Chicago, great station, great friend. Love Dan Wolf. He says, heck yeah, I want a shout out. Say hi to my cat Cindy too. Hi Cindy. My daughter has 2 cats and she loves them to death. Emil Bjorkland says, I really enjoy your channel, Lee. A shout out would be awesome. There's your shout out, Emil. Maurice Boney says, hell yeah, right here. Mears is my second favorite Jason portrayer. By the way, what's for breakfast? I'm going to show you what's for breakfast. Hold on. Here you go. This is what I eat for breakfast in the mornings usually. It's cinnamon and spice Quaker oatmeal. And it's delicious. And when I first moved here, I was shopping through the grocery store and I noticed that they sell this alone. Because usually you get this and then you get apples and cinnamon and you get maple and brown sugar. And they only give you 2 of these. And this is my favorite. So when I saw that they have an exclusive pack that's just cinnamon and spice, I freaked out. So this is what I usually eat for breakfast in the morning. I don't like to eat too much in the morning because then you just start feeling crappy for the rest of the day. So it's kind of a perfect start to your day. And we're going into Rob Zombie territory a little bit here with this dude. But the next comment is from John Hoey. Hells yeah, Derek. Thank you for helping Lee McCoy make the right choice. Lee, I hope you to get a shout out someday on the channel. John Hoey, there's your channel. There's your shout out right there. And he was talking about Derek Mayu, who is such a great friend of mine. He sent me that awesome movie, The Howling, and the custom figure that he created. Amazing work. And his choice was this movie, Friday the 13th. So yeah, there you go. Ryan Wood says, have a good time, Lee. Hope all is going well. Yes, definitely. Now that the move is finally coming to an end, yeah, it's such a long process. Uspalda Garcia, I hope I said that right. It would make my day to get a shout out. Can't wait for the video. There you go, buddy. Uspalda, is that the way I say it? Let me know. Derek Mayo, there he is. Mayonnaise. Sorry, Derek. Thanks, Lee. Friday the 13th is my favorite horror franchise. My brother got me started with it at 10 years old. That's funny. That's when I started with Friday. I was 10 years old. I got to experience the classic being born. Awesome. Keith Amerson says, I am happy with this pick for Drumdums Watches and can't wait for the segment. Have a great day, Lee. Lamont Smith, Horror Miser Monty G is his channel. He says, I have this on DVD. It is an underrated remake. Give me a shout out, Lee. Horror rules. There you go, Lamont. Bradley Mills says, can I have a shout out? Yes, you can, Bradley. Norman Fleming says, a shout out would be cool. Mark Kimberly says, please, can I get a shout out? If you can just do a shout out to Kimbo, I'll know. And it'll blow my grandson away. Kimbo, that's your grandson? Cool, that's awesome, man. Okay, it's a nickname I've had all my life. Look forward to watching the video later. Simon Moon, what's up, buddy? He says, thanks a lot for new Drumdums watches, Lee. I think he said he discovered my channel through a Drumdums watch video, which is cool. So, yeah. And I'll be doing Twitter and I'll be doing Instagram shout outs later, probably at the end, and the rest of the killer flicks because they're still coming in. But now we're back to the movie. Really fun kill scene here. Throws in a little bit of nudity in the mix. You got Willa Ford, who is I think a pop singer, who did an okay job in this movie. But you know, if you got a Friday movie, it's fun to have a little bit of skiing. And so yeah, this has skiing in it. And you got Sam Winchester, or Jared Padalecki, who I thought was one of the stronger characters in this. He's, you know, he's the guy that you're rooting for, so that's a good thing. A lot of the characters I did not like, but not all of them. I really liked him in this movie, though. He was really good, actually. He really reminded me of Rob from Part 4 a little bit. But it's funny that like everybody's giving him a hard time, and he's a massive dude. He looks like he's like 6'5", like he could take on Jason. And you got the douchebag Trent there that's giving him shit. I probably wouldn't give the guy shit because he could probably freaking stomp your ass. So I thought that was kind of funny. I guess it's a little bit of miscasting if you're going with that type of script and that type of motivation. I don't know. And the actor that plays Trent seems like a really nice guy. He does. I've seen interviews with him behind the scenes. He's just doing his part, you know? That's what was in the script. When I say I hate Trent, it doesn't mean I hate the actor. The actor's fine. He actually does a great job playing a douchebag. I mean, if I have to give him credit for that. Travis Van Winkle, that's his name. I looked it up. I wanted to say his name. But yeah, like remember I said earlier, we're getting into Rob Zombie territory with this guy. When I watch horror movies, Halloween is a good example. I like characters that are more like us, I guess, more straightforward. When they start getting into like disgusting territory with their language, not that I'm against cussing. I'm totally fine for cussing. Goodfellas is one of my favorite movies. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is when they cross into like Rob Zombie territory and they're using like the C word, and you know, I know I'm sounding like a prude here, but I think a lot of you know what I'm talking about. It just takes me out of the experience of a horror movie. I don't think you need it. And this guy, you know, he's that type of character. And because he's that type of character, it's hard for me to like buy into him. But what is cool about this scene is this is where we get to see the mask for the first time. And there's Jason coming behind him, getting ready to take his booty, being his mask. And that's what I'm talking about. This guy's just disgusting. I don't know. I just don't get into that in horror movies. Man, look at Derek Mears though. God, what a presence. I mean, he looks like a brick wall. He really does. And we get to see the face for just a second. I like that this one doesn't get too flashy with the kills. They feel realistic. And there it is. There's the mask. Look at that thing. That's awesome. Wow. That is awesome. One of the best looking masks they've used. That does look badass. Guys, I'm gonna admit that it's weird, you know, sometimes I change my mind. CP gives me crap for this all the time. I'm really enjoying this movie this time around. You know, maybe it's because of the Drumdums Watches experience, but there's a lot to like about it. And so maybe my opinion will change a little bit. You know, it's not gonna change as far as some of the characters I hate, but not all the characters are as bad as I remember them being. So yeah, I think I'm starting to come around to this one a little bit, and it's weird that it's happening in the middle of this video. There's Danielle Panabaker, and I once told Emma from Spooky Astronauts that she reminds me of Danielle Panabaker. Do you guys see it? Maybe just a little bit? But she's also in the show Arrow, which is not a really good show. The Flash is pretty good, but Arrow I just can't get into. But she's fine in it. And here's Levi. Hey, Levi. Levi likes belly rubs. You want a belly rub? There you go, buddy. Get that belly rub. That dog, I tell you, every time I tell him let's go potty, he does that. He rolls over, he wants a belly rub first. And he seduces you. Tell me that's not seduction right there. I love you, Levi. Okay, so now we are officially in the nighttime for the Friday the 13th remake. You got Clay and Danielle Panabaker, I can't remember her name in the movie. They are investigating the cabin where Jason lives. And just look at those, look how this scene is lit. Daniel Pearl does such an amazing job of, I guess, finding light in the dark. You know, because the scene's dark, but then you have all these light shadows in the background. Look, if you see in the background, you see behind the cabin, it's all lit up. And it might not be the most realistic, but you don't realize that when you're watching it. You know, there's an art form to actually lighting a scene, especially for horror. But you can see Jason's old, his little toys, I guess. So Jason's been living here since he was a kid, pretty much as soon as his mother died, living off of the land, living off of the animals around. He's pretty messed up. I mean, he'd be quite the study for a psychiatrist. And it's interesting that they don't really delve too deep into his childhood, you know. For the most part, they always focus on adult Jason. And I'm glad they do that. I don't want them to go too far into what Jason went through as a child. I don't think it's necessary. And if you go by the original story, of course, Jason, you know, supposedly drowned, even though he didn't drown. I mean, after the first Friday the 13th, they didn't plan on making a sequel anyway. There was never gonna be an adult Jason killer type of movie. It was supposed to be his mother was a killer in the first one, and that was it. But the first movie made so much money that they had to make a sequel. The mother was already dead, so what do? We make Jason the killer. Well, let's bring him back to life. And here we got Jason. Jason is more a hunter in this movie than any other Friday movie. He's almost like Rambo. It's as if Rambo got super pissed off and put on a Jason mask and, you know, just lived off of the wild. And Jason doesn't want to kill people. They are on his turf. They are in his territory. He's not having it. If you're in Jason's territory, you're done. Now this is uncharted territory too. I think this is interesting that Jason has taken a hostage. She reminds him of his mother. So it's just something we've never seen before. I'm kind of in the middle with it. Sometimes I don't like it, sometimes I do, but it doesn't really bother me. But I thought the actress who played Whitney did a really good job actually. If they did anything right with this movie, they played it 100% serious. You know, it wasn't, I guess like Jason X. It wasn't like Jason X where you can watch it and have fun with it and joke with it. They wanted to go completely serious, which I'm totally for. And this morning I actually went on the Stardust app and I recorded just a quick little review of this. If you don't know what the Stardust app is, I'm pulling it up right here on my phone right now, and there's my reaction for it. But you get the idea. You can go on Stardust, and after you see a movie, or anytime you want really, you can go and you can record a 30-second review to the movie you just saw. Give your opinions on it, and then after that, you can go and like and comment and all that good stuff. Matter of fact, today I just hit 100 followers on Stardust, so that's really cool. If you guys want to follow me on Stardust, go right ahead. It's going to be at Drumdums. But I'm going to do a few more Killer Flicks shout-outs because I have a lot of Killer Flicks comments here, and I figured I'll kind of do them in sections, and so there'll be some more at the end of this video. I don't want to overload you with comments. Plus, I'll put in some timestamps, so that way if you want to skip the comments and you can go right to the movie talk, we can do that too. All right, let's see. Let's do like 10 of the comments right now. I got Matt Vicary, not a bad film. I prefer the original, but this one was well done. Dylan Clancy says, stupendous tits. Everybody uses that line when they talk about this movie. That scene is so outrageous, just crazy. Steve Testa says, this is a great movie if you stop it after the first 20 minutes. That's pretty much been my feeling with this movie, or at least at the first 20 minutes are definitely the best. I still have a good time with the rest of it, but yeah, those first 20 minutes are just insanity. Hayden Lee Pisani says, I actually don't get the hate about this film. It's one of the good films. My only problem is Trent. He does drag the film down. Trent's a douchebag. Santino Bucaro says, I honestly enjoy the remake. I always forget Jared Padalecki is in this. Moose. I'm in my Crowley voice. Haha. Yeah, of course, Jared Padalecki is Sam on Sam Winchester on Supernatural. Matthew Myers says, I want to see Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 remake watch. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is not a remake. It is completely a new and original vision by Rob Zombie. I don't know why people constantly call that a remake. Not to call you out on that one, Matthew. It happens all the time. But yeah, not a remake. Lucas Ferreira says, I want to shout out, not a fan of the remake, but a huge fan of the franchise, and I love Drumdums watches. Thank you, Lucas. Parker Schmeichel, what's up, Parker? Says, awesomely, can't wait to watch it, and I'm hoping for Rob Zombie's Halloween, not because I like the movie, I like the third act, but because I think it's always entertaining to hear people's thoughts on controversial films, but Friday the 13th, 2009 isn't a bad choice. Can't wait for today's episode, Lee. Keep up the fucking awesome work, brother. Yes. Yeah, I will definitely be doing Rob Zombie's Halloween next after this one. And I also posted on my Patreon page for some choices. So if you can go to my Patreon page and you can see those choices that people, and if you are a patron, then you can actually post your choices below for future Drumdums watches. Mark Bushnell says, really enjoyed this one, Lee. In fact, they should have made a sequel to it. Yeah, again, I would definitely enjoy a sequel to this. Cody Archer, the more I think about it, the opening scene of this film might have been one of the best scenes in the whole franchise. They knocked it out of the park with that opening. Yes, yes, yes. Can't foot stomp that enough how awesome the opening of this movie is. And we'll stop it right there with Cody Archer, and then we will finish the rest of the shout outs at the end of this. And I still got to do Twitter, and I still got to do Instagram. So there's going to be just a big block of shout outs at the end of this, but no more shout outs during the actual movie. And there she is, the stupendous tits herself. These two guys right here, they were just pretty much bait for Jason. They didn't give them much meat to chew on whatsoever. It was like the token black guy and the token Asian guy. And I wish they would have given them more of a part. That was another one of my complaints. It was so stereotypical, and I think they should have taken their characters farther, because I think they deserved better. Notice that the kills in this one are just much more visceral, nothing too flashy, just realistic, like I was saying earlier. And really bloody, actually. And they are about to get busted. Or maybe not so much. I forget. I was lost in the scene. Can you believe this guy? Like, after he's just cheating on his girlfriend, then he's gonna make a scene like that and be pissed off? Are you kidding me? Big kill coming up here. This is where the movie really just shifts into high gear. It gets pretty crazy. Oh! That is not a good way to die. I always like a good axe kill in a movie. You're bullshit, Trent. See, Jason needs a thinker in this too, because he sets the guy up as bait. Come get him. All right, we're closing in on the final act. We're about to see Trent get his. And his death is actually a pretty damn good death. He just threw Bree on the car. Trent screaming like a bitch. Ooh, I forgot he actually threw him in a hot tub there. That's pretty gnarly. Here we go. I had to adjust my lighting because I wanted you guys to see this really good. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It's a slow, gnarly death too. Look at that. Get that douchebag off my screen. Oh. And that's it, guys. That's the end of Trent. You're welcome. Really iconic scene right here with Clay. He's, yeah, right there. Love that scene. And it really reminds me of Friday the 13th Part 2. Everybody remembers the scene at the end where Jason jumps out, and I think it topped the surprise ending of the first movie. Because Amy Steele, you know that something bad's about to happen, but you don't know when. But when he jumps through, it's not only that he jumps through, but it's also he had the mask off, and when I was a kid, it scared the crap out of me. Like, one of the scariest scenes I've ever seen in a horror movie is from Friday the 13th Part 2. So, like that they threw that in this one. And yeah, it's right now, it's Clay and Whitney going head to head with Jason, and we're about to come to the end of this thing. And when I first saw this, I thought, are they gonna just kill Jason off like one and done in this movie? Because he's getting sucked into like a hay grinder or whatever. And here's another throwback to Part 2. Whitney is acting like Jason's mother. That seems to always work with Jason. Jason loves his mother. And this was actually a pretty damn intense ending for this movie. Nice final act. I like the final act of this one. I think it's everything in the middle that annoys the shit out of me. But there's some greatness to this movie. You got Derek Mears, who is one of the best Jasons, if not the best Jason, if we're being honest, that I've ever seen. I mean, in physicality, in the way he is the character, he acts like Rambo. He's badass. It's like the most badass version of Jason I've ever seen. And I would love to see Derek Mears come back to play the character again. He would be amazing. And I think he would jump right at it too. I think he'd jump at the chance. But love this scene where Jason like reaches his hand out right in the chest. Bam! And Jason didn't even try to kill her through the whole movie. He loved her. Kind of rude if you ask me. That mask is so cool looking. Definitely one of the coolest looking masks out of the whole franchise. And here is the end. They got to throw on this nice little surprise at the end. You know that Jason's probably going to jump out of the water, which he does. I think some people, they really didn't like this. It felt kind of lazy, this ending. But you know what? It's a Friday movie. It's the kind of ending that you would expect in a Friday movie. And honestly, it didn't really bother me. But like a lot of the killer flicksters were saying, I would love a sequel to this one. Why not continue this story? I don't know why. I mean, this was a big hit, right? So not a lot of people love it, but you know what? There's a lot of bad Friday movies. This is definitely not the worst. But anyway, guys, that is it for the movie. We're now going to jump over to the Drumdums Evil Lair, and we're going to do the rest of the shout-outs. So I will see you in the Evil Lair. Okay, guys, we are going to do the rest of the shout-outs. I'm going to go back to Killer Flicks, going to finish that up. And while I'm doing that, the unboxing that I did for Derek Mayu, there is the werewolf. Doesn't that look badass? And there was a letter that I forgot to read that I put right here on the Darth Vader. So it's a nice little letter that he sent me, and it's pretty much describing the werewolf and what he put into it and all that good stuff. But yeah, I really appreciate that, Derek. Looks amazing. Fantastic work. I just watched The Howling last night. Loved it. Planning on getting a review out for that real soon, so stay tuned for that. Okay, continuing, Sammy Klinger from Killer Flicks says, I thought this remake was just okay. Definitely one of the better horror remakes to come out, but nothing to run home to. Tony DeHane says, Derek Mears was a good Jason. I liked how they incorporated elements from the first 4 movies, like Jason getting the mask, and the first 20 minutes are awesome. It does go downhill for me when we are introduced to the new group of characters, Trent, Bree. Some of those characters just annoyed me, and it took me out of the movie. Overall, a decent remake reboot. He just pretty much summed up my entire thoughts on this movie. Thank you. Zach from the Cavern of Terror. What's up, buddy? He says, Big J is triumphant. This is a stupendous victory. I see what you did there, Zach. One of my favorite scenes is the one to be the cop kill. Oh, I usually don't hear people saying that the cop kill is their favorite. And, of course, the opening massacre. Yeah, that's an awesome massacre. Shane Saborski says, good pick, Lee and Derek. And Dan Wolf says, Motorin, what's your price for Flight? Yes. Love that song. Makes me think of Boogie Nights every time I hear it. Harris Jakupovich, I hope I said that right, Harris. Awesome dude. Jake Percy says, shout out. Sounds awesome. Anyway, I love this film so much. Corey Grayley says, I want a shout out. There's your shout out, Corey. And he loves the movie. Tyler Trigg says, shout out Lee. He is one of my Patreon patrons. Thank you, Tyler. Can't wait for this. Andrew Becker says, say my name. Andrew Becker. And he also loves the first 20 minutes. CP, what's up, my buddy CP? He just dropped a review on House, which I thought was really good, with Emily's Adventures in Horrorlands. Definitely check that out. Everything pre-title screen is quite awesome. After, I think I left the stove on. Gotta go. Yeah. I after this watch, I actually liked it a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. Michael Mims says Lee is the real McCoy. I think I'm the first one to use that phrase here, which is shocking to me. I hadn't replied to him and said, I hear that at least once a week. Are you the real McCoy? Tim Swope says, hell yeah, can't wait for this video. Justin Adams says, this was one of the better remakes. It's more true to the character by showing his past, and also that they didn't use CGI effects in the kills. You know what? That is a really good point. Thank you, Justin. And I love that they used young Jason bag mask and then hockey mask Jason. That bag Jason was awesome. Michael Jones says, so glad these are back. Would love a shout out. You the man, Lee. Michael Jones, there's your shout out, buddy.
Anthony Madsen says, this is actually one of my favorites in the series. I love the 2009 remake. Derek Mears is actually my favorite Jason. He was brutal and smart, and I like seeing him use and set up the alarms and traps around Camp Crystal Lake. Yeah, great point. I love that this was his playground, and if you were on his playground, you were up shit creek without a paddle. He ends it by saying stupendous. That is the word of the day.
Also, guys, I'd like to take a moment to give a real quick shout out to a good friend of mine, Stephen Wilkie. If you are a Friday fan, then definitely check out his Facebook group called Club Voorhees. They're like good friends with my group, Killer Flicks, and yeah, I mean, everything is Friday on Club Voorhees. It's definitely one of the best Friday fan pages I've ever come across. You will love it. And Deborah Voorhees is actually a member of that page as well. Also, would like to give a quick shout out to Robert Doring, good friend of mine, and he is a Friday fanatic. Yeah, so definitely wanted to give those two quick shout outs as well.
And that's it for the Killer Flicks shout-outs. Actually, Matt Meyer says, I don't remember seeing that actress in anything other than the movie, but have mercy, she's memorable. Talking about Brie, yes, she is. Now let's go over to Instagram, and we will read the comments on that one. Yeah, quite a few comments on Instagram, actually. Afnan FAJ says, yes, please, enjoy the film, brother. Vincent Whitener says, could I get a shout out? Also, really enjoyed the remake. There's your shout out, Vincent. Micah Huskonen. God, I butchered that. I'm a huge fan of your work from Finland. Oh, that's cool. Love when I have fans outside of the United States. That is so awesome. Shout out would be nice. There's your shout out, Micah. Derek says, thank you, Drumdums. Friday the 13th is my favorite horror franchise. It's awesome you're doing this. Doing it first. Can't wait to see. Steve Testa says, so glad you get to watch the much lesser of the three evils. Hunter Such, I'm a big fan of your channel. I've been watching for a pretty long time. Thank you, Hunter. I appreciate that. Simon Moon, what's up, Simon? He says, Drumdums Watches made me a fan of your channel in the first place. I really enjoy it. Watched every episode multiple times when I couldn't sleep, when I was worried about something or not feeling well. It always gives me a good feeling. Thank you a lot for your work, Lee. Just wanted to let you know that really means something to people like me. Yes, thank you, Simon. Simon, I really appreciate that. Very kind words. Dylan Letty says, I have actually been around your channel since you started. Believe it or not, I don't really comment much, but I always watch and like your videos. Damn, that's awesome, man. 3 years I've been doing this. And actually 3 years this month, this week. It's 3 years this week. I didn't even realize that I started YouTube. Double X Slayerman 2003 says, I want a shout out, please. There's your shout out. Cody, what's up, my buddy Cody? Cody Leach says his birthday is actually tomorrow, so give you a happy birthday. It's going to be on Friday of this week, so it might be today whenever this video drops. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Derek Mears is the best, Jason. Ridiculous that they don't capitalize on a sequel to this. Completely agree, brother. Harding Jordan says, can I have a shout out? There's your shout out. Josh, future filmmaker, says, of course I'd like a shout out. There you go. And Brett Renard says, wouldn't mind a shout out, sir. There's your shout out, Brett. And then lastly, on Instagram, I got the Ian Mazer83 says, I love your videos. I would love a shout out. There's your shout out. Now we're going to go over to Twitter. Okay, so shout outs for Twitter. I got David Charpentier, Nick from 31 Film Talk, Daniel O, the Horror Miser Monty G, Leaving 45, CP, well I like it reviews, Bushman Blue, thank you Bushman Blue, you always support what I do, man. I got to give you like a double shout out for that. You're awesome. Parker's Michael from Parker Heavy Metal. He loves heavy metal. He loves Iron Maiden. Nathaniel Palika, Tyler Birdman, Cole Hilton, Robert Sobel, Javier Ariola, and that's a funny last name. Jeremy Green, Nick Salsi, Cameron Poole, Rob Gall, Eddie Molina, Steve Bernard, Emma from Spooky Astronauts, Brian Lomax, Bat Dove, Taylor Castle, DC, Maryland, Charlie Winston, and Cody Leach. And then lastly, real quick, my Patreon patrons, I just posted this not too long ago, but a couple shout outs here. And I said on Patreon, if you recommend a movie, I'll definitely add it to my Drumdums Watches list. And they both, Cody Leach and Kelly Marie Farrell, recommended 2 solid movies that I will definitely do. Trick or Treat, Cody recommended that. Me and Cody are huge fans of Trick or Treat, the one from '86, the heavy metal one. And then Kelly Marie Farrell says American Werewolf in London, which is funny because I was just watching The Howling with my son, and he's been waiting to watch American Werewolf in London. I think American Werewolf in London is the better movie, but The Howling is still a classic. So that's it, guys. That is a new Drumdums Watches in the can. Thank you so much for getting through this with me. Had a lot of fun doing this. It takes a lot of work, but I love interacting with you guys, and this platform gives me the most opportunities to interact with you guys. I can't talk. So anyway, guys, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, and now Stardust. If you like what I'm doing, hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.